So in today's video, I want to try to fix my sander dust collection problem. Right now I have some little rigid shop vacs hooked up to these. This is my biggest problem right here, the disc sander. It just does not have nearly enough suction that it needs to actually collect that dust, and it all kind of piles up underneath right here. And then currently I have both of these sanders hooked up to one vac with this little splitter, but it's not giving nearly enough suction to at least the strip sander here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this sander up to my big dust collector and hook these up to their individual shop vacs. So let me take you closer and I'll give you a better look. So looking at the disc sander in here, all of this dust just kind of piles up down here. This guard doesn't really do much as far as like deflecting the dust down there and getting it into the vacuum. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove this whole bottom guard thing, dust collector guard, and I think I'll cut a big hole in the bench and have my dust collector come up through the bottom. And so I'm probably gonna end up moving that disc sander over here. And then I can do kind of what I did for my chop saws, where I just have basically a HVAC duct underneath there that will just kind of suck the dust up. So I already have the end of the stop right here with a cap on it. I'm just going to undo that and see if I can plumb in something that comes over to the left right here. All right, so I think this is gonna work out. With this here, it still lets me pass like 2x4s and stuff underneath that. Actually, I can probably move it back a little bit so things can still pass underneath the table of the disc sander. And again, my goal I think is gonna be to cut an opening underneath this that will have just an open hole that dust can just fall right into. And it's gonna be like a 4x10, 4x6, whatever size it is, HVAC duct. Right, this can stay here, I guess, and I'll plumb that into that one again, and then this sander over here is going to have its own dust hookup right like that. So I think that'll work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of trace out that hole, start cutting that out, make sure there's nothing underneath it as far as like 2x4 support of the workbench. So I should have a nice, easy time cutting that hole and getting that dust fit in there. All right, it's not perfect, but let's see if it fits. It'll be okay. It's a little wider than it needs to be, but that'll fit fine. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, I'll add some screws I'll put some metal aluminum tape around all the edges so there's no sharp edges exposed, and that should be good for now. All right, so here's a look at how that looks so far. Just a couple self-tappers in 3 of the sides. I did start the holes with an awl just to make it easier for that screw to go in because I was on such an angle. But that should work out pretty nicely. Let me get some aluminum tape around all the edges here. There's this little gap because the ducting's not perfect, so maybe I'll try to hammer that in place a little bit. And then we should be ready to do all the ducting underneath then. So. All right, so the fittings I have some, these are all 4-inch pipes. 2 4-inch elbows, and then a small piece of 4-inch straight that I'll probably have to cut to length. But I think I should be able to kind of get this in here in a way that I can get a nice smooth transition. Something coming back like that, hopefully. And get to that. So let me continue messing around with this and we'll see what works. All right, so I think it's going to be something like that. I know it's not the nicest turns, and I know it's going to impede dust flow, or airflow, but I think that should definitely be better than what I had before. So I'll go ahead and get some screws, throw some screws in here, put some tape around some of the gaps, and then we'll test it out. All right, let's go ahead and turn on the dust collector and see how that works. Okay, so let's see. I can hear it. I'm just gonna take some of this chips right here. I mean, it's working. It's definitely pulling it in. I guess I'll have to get the sander in place to actually test it out with the sander, but it seems like it's definitely working. I still got to tape up some joints and stuff, but should be good. All right, so we can see how poorly that was actually working. All the dust is kind of stuck in there. All that dust that fell out is not good. And I'm hoping that with that cover off, as you're using it, the dust is just going to blow right down into that open hole in the bottom and then easily sucked up. So there's going to be nothing for it to stick to down there, hopefully. All right, so let's get it moved over and we'll take a look. that. Does seem to be working. Let me get you closer. So it's definitely going down there, which is nice. Buildup is a good idea. It's definitely got some suction pulling it down there. So I think this is a good proof of concept. All right, thinking about the sander and how the dust is gonna come out. If this vacuum's on, it's got a lot of area right here that is trying to pull the air in from. And so my thought was that as the dust is made up here, it's gonna continue moving in that direction and gonna go straight down. But I think the airflow is not going to be good enough. So what I did, and I thought of doing this after the fact. So this is kind of an after recording or a PS. But I made up this little box. It's literally just butt joints and some staples that will go around the sander like this. So you can do it one-handed, and it doesn't have to be super tight. So I left some gaps there around some of this stuff. But I think that'll really help. So let's get a final look at how this is doing by sanding some MDF. Here it is with dust collection off. Oh, that's a lot of dust. Now with dust collection on, I see a lot shooting over there still, but there is some going down. I don't know how well you can see that. It is going down. Let's try it with this cover on. And I'm really trying to see if there's any dust coming out over here. I think that's pretty good. The issue I'm having is that I tried, this is an old shop vac hose that I tried just being able to modify, but it's so cheap and flimsy that I'm trying to fit this fitting in and it just rips and it's not very good. So I'll probably have to find a better way to do this, but for now it's staying, and maybe I'll just put some tape around it and call it a day for now. So let's keep going. So I'm using on all these tools over here. They're going to be on one of these kind of off-brand IVAC switches, which will turn on as soon as the tool turns on. So that's what I had here. So when I turn on the sander, and the vacuum keeps running after the tool is turned off to try to clean the lines of dust. One thing I had to do over here is route the hose in this way because I wanted the shop vac, this output or input, I guess, facing this way, but the motor is blowing air out, and I know it's not going to be totally filtered, and I don't want it blowing into people's faces. So I turn it like this. It seems to have decent dust collection. I need to add another IVAC switch down here for the spindle sander. And then this one will just be turned on when the normal dust collection is on. So that one will be always on. All right, so here's what we have. All plumbed in, ready to go. I got all the wood cleaned up down there, and yes, cable management is a little iffy, but it works. So there's my two IVAC off-brand switches. That's all cleaned up. There's my ducting, that looks pretty good. All right, I got all the tape on it. And that was the goal right here, just getting that in. So I think that's gonna work nicely. All right, and if you guys like this content and want to support a growing channel, go ahead and give me a like. I hate to beg for likes, but I am going to get started trying to grow my channel and filming more stuff that I do in my shop. So if you're interested in what it's like to work in a small school wood shop, give me a like, give me a follow, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys.